Welcome, everybody, to the C-Suite Sherpa podcast. I'm your host, Brian Marshall, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. Speaking of which, we've got a great guest with us today, Jason Tanner with Applied Frameworks. Jason, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and what you do?
Sure. So we help companies that are building or maintaining software-enabled solutions design profitable and sustainable business models. We focus on adjusting pricing and packaging to align to customer benefits that enable those businesses to be successful and serve their clients best. It's a wide range of clients, both from startup and growth companies to larger, more established Fortune 10,000 companies. We also work with some venture capital and private equity firms and their portfolio companies where they may need help making decisions to improve outcomes and profitability.
Full disclosure, I own a SaaS software company. So maybe there might be something for us to talk about after the podcast. Let's dive into this. It seems like a really targeted niche. How did you get involved in that? What drew you into that marketplace?
Our legacy is product management. My co-founder and I met because we were both deep into agile and product management. Early 2003, 2004 timeframe, the company actually started as an agile product management company, and we got really deep into agile transformations, the scaled agile framework, and working with companies trying to grow their ability to deliver software effectively. But that is a really, really crowded space. And we saw this opportunity for something very passionate about, which is software business modeling. So as a result, we made a decision to venture off and write a book called Software Profit Streams to bring collectively about 40 years of product management experience and knowledge together to synthesize everything to a system of pricing and packaging that would work, just because we saw that there's a bit of a pullback in the agile industry right now. So it feels like we made the right choice for in this growth phase with this new business for us.
Oh, that's excellent. So give me a sense of the services. You've talked in broad strokes. Maybe dive down a little bit deeper. Let's say I own a SaaS software company. We're looking to grow. We want to get to 1 million ARR. We don't know how to do that. So what would you do with someone like that theoretical prospect that I just mentioned?
Sure. So we start with a snapshot of the current state. So we have a canvas that really brings together the holistic business model of the business to find out what the current pricing and packaging is, how it's targeted to market segments, because we often find there's no connection between the pricing as offered on the web page for good, better, best in any way as it relates to the segments that companies are trying to serve. So we just want to get that big picture first so we can then find out where the dials are that we need to start turning. Now we have our own AI tools and various spreadsheet models that we use to do all that modeling. But at the end, we sort of walk through a series of changes to be made, which may include doing some additional customer market research. One thing we find often is that when we really do some concise economic modeling of benefits, particularly the tangible benefits that are in B2B a lot, reducing costs, increasing revenue, those benefits correlate to what we can charge for the solutions through the features that companies deliver. So one of our clients provides a lot of biogenetic data. It's incredibly valuable. How do you price it so that the pharmaceutical companies doing the research get the benefit they want, which is faster time to market? There's a real connection between how much they're spending and how much faster they can develop new drugs when they use that data. We put that together to establish the price.
Yeah, I would imagine you talked about heading in the right direction. The what's going on with data AI development is going to dramatically change the face of software moving forward. While that's exciting, it's also terrifying for founders of technology businesses. I've been in tech my whole life. I was in Silicon Valley for 5 or 6 years back in the 90s, the go-go days when they were throwing money at people that anybody that had .com, you would get, you can get $10 million without a question being asked. It's a lot harder to raise money now. There are so many other options. Technology is changing so rapidly that most companies can't keep up. I would imagine it's an exciting time for you. So, what are the challenges you're seeing that B2B software companies are facing today that you would help them get through? I know you bring in a whole cadre of pricing and expertise in the industry, but when you're dealing with probably the founders, the owners of a smaller company, probably the executive team of larger companies, what are some of the big challenges that you're seeing moving forward that you can help people overcome?
I think there's probably two dimensions. One is churn, and the second would be just continuing to grow their market share and generate new customers.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's traced to incorrect positioning. And second is how they're ensuring they're retaining their current customers. Sometimes there's this gap between what people have bought, what they've paid, and whether they're getting all the value they can. In some ways, we help them almost rehab their customer success teams, retention account management groups, to really highlight almost on a customer by customer basis, are they actually getting all the value they can out of the software? Sometimes we find this mismatch between what they're doing and what they could be doing, and helping companies to explore what they're doing. We're experiencing that ourselves with one of our tools. We have a great learning management platform that we use for a lot of our training programs. And we're just tapping into some new features that they've added
Yeah.
that we just didn't know about. We've been so busy doing our thing that fortunately they were smart. Their account manager reached out and said, "Hey, did you know we've got these new capabilities that we noticed you're not using?" So I think there's some instrumentation within software products, and there's two or three tools that do that really well. Penda is one of them, where you can actually see, hey, is anyone using this feature? Where are the people that could be using it who aren't? And how do we signal to them you're not tapping into everything you're paying for?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I'm a big believer in technology and I'm all about optimizing. And I just tried out a new AI driven tool. And what was fascinating about the experience is I signed up for it. And then I started getting a series of messages. Hey, we noticed you haven't done anything. Hey, check out this video. They're actually watching because they know that there's a direct relationship between people who sign up in the first 30 days and people who don't use the tool tend to quit. They tend
Right.
to unsubscribe. And I just thought that was brilliant. I'm seeing a lot of that intelligence being built into the way they interact with clients because a human being couldn't keep track of all that. It has to be monitored by technology. So, yeah, there's a lot of exciting changes going on, but exciting is also scary because it's really hard to keep up. Think about AI for a minute as being the big 800-pound gorilla that everyone's excited about, but we have no idea where it's going to take things. You mentioned that you have some AI tools that you use. How are you helping software platforms incorporate AI into their tools, or is it more of a recommendation that you're making? Tell us a little bit about how you're helping companies adapt and leverage AI technology.
Well, currently we're being very targeted about it. In some cases, we've leveraged AI to help us develop the pricing model and work out the pricing curves for variable costs for units. So when I mentioned that biotech client, they have really valuable data, and sometimes customers want just a little bit of it, and sometimes they want a ton, and it's worth so much that one unit could be worth $1,000. So if somebody wants 100,000 samples, you're not going to be able to pay that much money at 1,000 a unit. So we've got to figure out the shape of the curve to get them to a reasonable price tag for the customer who actually comes in and wants to buy 100,000 samples. That was figured out and solved with a lot of work with AI queries to get the shape of the curve right to make
Right.
sense of a profitable price point or series of price points along the curve. In a way, we're helping companies leverage AI the best they can based on their context because it's not a silver bullet for every client. We don't have a cookie cutter that fits in yet. It's on a case by case basis. I think the one way that we've found a lot of value with AI is accelerating a lot of market research. A lot of the desk research that we used to call it, like how many people are there in the United States who are left-handed who might need this solution? I mean, you used to go have to hunt that out. Now you get to send that answer in seconds.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I think that's going to help a lot with accelerating discovery research, at least at the first stage. The second stage is still going to be people talking to people, right? At the end of the day, people are buying solutions, not machines. AI agents are making decisions about how to make major investments. As a product manager and leader, there's still a need to be hyper aware of what people want, what they're looking for, the problems they're trying to solve, where their pain points are, then we can use AI tools to help solve those problems.
We've seen some revolutionary changes in technology. I remember robots were going to take over all the manual labor jobs and people would be out of work. Well, they find out that the robotics really improved quality and efficiency, and it created a whole series of jobs around programming and maintenance and support. And it freed people up from doing the mundane to do things that were more as human beings built to do. Then the internet was going to revolutionize everything. And it has. I was involved in bringing broadband to the marketplace back in 2000. And the stuff we talked about doing in the 90s still hasn't happened yet. These things take way longer, cost way more. It's just the way this works. So when I hear about AI is going to take over the world, it's going to, determine human beings are obsolete and kill us all. I laugh because I had people telling me back in the 2000 era that they didn't want their company using the internet because it was going to distract all their employees. And I'm going, you're missing the whole point. You're listening to the fear mongers, right? There's always people that are doing that. So AI is a lot, there's a lot of hype, a lot of misinformation, but most people, and I'm curious, this is my last question for you. I'm curious if you're seeing people are very early in the stages of even understanding how to adopt AI technology. Is that what you're saying?
It's a wide spectrum. I think that there's been some really aggressive moves by more innovative companies that are really leaning into it, already figured out how to smartly leverage AI into their solutions beyond a simple assistant. So I think on the one end, you've got these really clever, creative applications of AI to actually make their products more effective. And then we've got sort of the next layer, which would be we've integrated an assistant and it's actually kind of smart. I've had a couple of experiences on websites with that where you can tell you're talking to an AI agent
Yeah.
and it's pretty effective. And then you've got some that have been kind of lame. And like, let me talk to a person.
Yeah.
I think you got the far other side of very conservative. I'm going to wait and see. And in some cases, I think it's smart that some companies probably should avoid it. Those that are highly regulated financial institutions don't know yet what's going to happen to any data they put into an AI model. How do we
Right.
know that our data on OpenAI is actually private? And I don't want Sam Altman running away with some private information I'm running.
Yeah.
That I think is kind of the range of what companies are doing. I don't know
Well,
what the percentages are along that curve, but it probably is a bell
right.
curve. You've probably got some, small percentage that are really going hard every day right now and really, all out in making better solutions with AI.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, listen, you and I could geek out on this stuff for hours. We don't have that kind of time. So I'm going to pivot here and just do a little quick lightning round, have a little bit of fun, and then we're going to tell people how they can contact you. And we'll post all your contact information on our YouTube channel with this video. Quick questions, quick answers, 1 minute. Let's go. Coffee or tea? What do
Coffee.
you, how about cats or dogs?
Well, it's cats right now because we don't have any dogs, but
Got it. Okay. How about if you could only grab one item right before the zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
uh, R15.
AR-15, good choice. And lots of 226 ammo. How about favorite quote that you think about often?
Uh, it's the old Teddy Roosevelt and the man in the arena. That entire, speech really.
Cool. How about bucket list item that you've already accomplished?
We've published a book.
There you go. That's that I would have expected. Make sure to tell us how to get your book before we're done. So last question, biggest obstacle that you've ever had to personally overcome, and what's one big takeaway that you learned from it?
Big obstacle. Wow, it may sound trite, but navigating through COVID and staying in business and not having to lay anyone off for that year plus, I think was a huge obstacle to navigate for us. I felt really lucky that we made it through.
No, that's
I was
good.
a
That's
Marine
good.
officer. Going through Officer Candidate School was a big enough obstacle.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, you don't get to this point in life without overcoming obstacles. I appreciate that. We're out of time. I want to make sure before we finish up, we can tell people how to get in touch with you. So, what's the best way to reach out to you? And again, keep in mind, if you're watching this video, it's in the description, it's all captured for you. How can people get in touch with you?
Appliedframeworks.com, and you can find me on LinkedIn, Jason Tanner. People can order the book directly from our website or from Amazon. It's software profit streams.
Okay, Jason, it was great talking to you. You and I are going to definitely talk post podcast. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Brian. Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here.